I found my wife's lover in the back seat of my cab, bragging about how easy she was to manipulate. That sentence still echoes in my mind every single day. Let me explain how one ordinary Tuesday evening in Birmingham shattered everything I thought I knew about my marriage. I'm Gary, and I've been driving a cab through Birmingham streets for the past 15 years. It's honest work, pays the bills, and I've always prided myself on being a good provider. My wife Carolina manages a popular restaurant downtown, and together we've built what I thought was a solid life with our 2 kids. 12 years of marriage. 12 years of shared dreams, late-night conversations, and building a future together. We had our college fund for the kids growing steadily, a nice house in a quiet neighborhood, and plans for our 20th anniversary trip to Europe. Everything seemed normal. I remember the early days of our marriage like they were yesterday. Carolina and I met at a friend's barbecue back when we were both young and ambitious. She was working as a server then, dreaming of climbing the ladder in the restaurant industry. I had just started driving my cab, determined to build something stable. We connected immediately over our shared work ethic and dreams of a better future. Our wedding was simple but beautiful. We couldn't afford anything extravagant, but Carolina's smile that day made me feel like the richest man in Birmingham. We honeymooned at a small beach town in Florida, spending our days walking along the shore and talking about the life we'd build together. She wanted 3 kids. I wanted a house with a big backyard. We compromised on 2 kids and a medium-sized yard. The first few years were hard financially, but we were happy. We'd eat cheap dinners and laugh about our gourmet ramen nights. Carolina would practice making fancy dishes at home, testing recipes she'd learned at work. I'd come home from long shifts and find her in the kitchen, flower in her hair, excited to show me her latest creation. Those were good times. Simple times. When our first child was born, everything changed in the best way possible. Carolina took maternity leave, and I picked up extra shifts to make up for the lost income. I didn't mind. Seeing her with our baby, watching her transform into this amazing mother, made every late night and difficult passenger worth it. Our second child came 2 years later, and our family felt complete. Carolina got promoted to administrator at the restaurant when our youngest started school. She was so proud, and so was I. She'd worked hard for that position, put in the hours, dealt with difficult customers and demanding owners. Finally, her dedication was paying off. The salary increase meant we could start seriously saving for the kids' college fund. We opened a special account just for that purpose, both of us contributing every month. But somewhere along the way things shifted. I can't pinpoint exactly when. Maybe it was gradual, so subtle I didn't notice until it was too late. Carolina started working later hours. She'd come home stressed, talking about inventory issues and staff problems. I'd try to help, try to listen, but after 12-hour shifts in my cab, I was exhausted too. Our conversations became shorter. Our date nights became rare. We were 2 ships passing in the night, both working hard but somehow drifting apart. I thought it was just a phase. Every marriage goes through rough patches, right? I thought once things settled down at her restaurant, once we got past the financial hurdles of raising 2 kids, we'd reconnect. I had no idea she was already connecting with someone else. That Tuesday evening started like any other. I'd been driving since 6 in the morning, dealing with the usual mix of passengers, business people heading to meetings, tourists needing directions, locals going about their daily routines. By 9 p.m., I was tired but pushing through. Just a few more fares and I could head home. When I pulled up to the address, I saw him standing outside a bar downtown. Young guy, probably mid-20s, dressed in designer jeans and a leather jacket that probably cost more than I made in a week. He had that swagger that young men get when they think they've figured out how the world works. "Where to?" I asked as he climbed in. He gave me an address on the north side and immediately pulled out his phone. I adjusted my rearview mirror, settled into the drive, and tried to focus on the road. But his voice carried, loud and confident, impossible to ignore. "Dude, you won't believe how good I've got it right now," he said into his phone, laughing. I tried to tune it out at first. You learn to give passengers their privacy in this job. I've heard everything from business deals to breakup calls to therapy sessions. You become like a priest in a confessional. You hear it all and forget it all. But something made me keep listening this time. Maybe it was the tone of his voice, that particular mix of arrogance and amusement that sets off alarm bells. "Yeah man, this woman I met at that restaurant where I've been hanging out, she's totally hooked. Works there as the manager or administrator or whatever. Carolina, her name is." My foot nearly slipped off the gas pedal. Carolina. Manager. Restaurant. It couldn't be. Birmingham has lots of restaurants, lots of women named Carolina. It had to be a coincidence. She's like, what, late 30s? But desperate for attention, you know? I throw her a few compliments, act interested in her boring stories, and boom, free meals every time I come in. She's even been buying me gifts with her own money. My hands tightened on the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. Late 30s. Administrator at a restaurant. Named Carolina. Buying gifts. The coincidences were piling up too high. The best part? She thinks I'm actually into her. Like, she's not bad looking for her age, but come on, I'm just in it for the perks. She told me her husband works all the time, so he never knows when I'm there. Poor guy probably thinks his wife is working hard while I'm getting 5-star dinners on his dime. The world seemed to tilt. Her husband works all the time. There was no doubt anymore. He was talking about my wife. My Carolina. The mother of my children. The woman I'd been married to for 12 years. I caught his reflection in the rearview mirror. He was grinning, clearly proud of himself, completely unaware that the poor guy he was mocking was driving him home right now. Dude, these older married women are the easiest targets. They're bored, feel unappreciated, and the second a younger guy shows them attention, they just melt. You should try it. Way easier than dating girls our age who actually have standards. He laughed at his own joke. Each word was like a physical blow. I wanted to pull over right there, wanted to turn around and confront him, wanted to make him understand what he'd just destroyed. But I kept driving, my mind racing, trying to process what I was hearing. And get this, she's been taking money from their kids' college fund to buy me stuff. She actually told me that. Said her husband would never notice because he doesn't check their savings account. Can you believe how stupid that is? Like, who steals from their own kids? The college fund. Our children's future. Money we'd been carefully saving for years, sacrifice by sacrifice. Money that represented less vacations, cheaper clothes, skipped luxuries. Money that was supposed to give our kids opportunities we never had. She'd been stealing it. To buy gifts for this kid who thought she was a joke. I mean, it's not exactly what I was hoping for when I started going to that restaurant. I was actually trying to meet the hot hostess who works there. But Carolina's the one who kept talking to me, kept offering me free appetizers, kept finding excuses to sit with me during her breaks. So I figured, why not? Free food is free food, and the gifts are a nice bonus. So she wasn't even his first choice. She'd practically thrown herself at him, and he'd just decided to take advantage of the situation. She'd humiliated herself, humiliated our marriage, humiliated me, all for someone who saw her as nothing more than a meal ticket. The funniest part is how grateful she acts when I compliment her. Like, I'll say something basic like, "You look nice today," and she lights up like I just gave her the world. It's actually kind of sad, man. Makes me wonder what her husband's doing wrong that she's this starved for attention. What was I doing wrong? I was working 12-hour days to support our family. I was being faithful. I was being responsible. I was being a husband and a father. Apparently that wasn't enough. The rest of the ride passed in a haze. I heard him continue talking, heard him give his friend tips on how to land your own sugar mama, heard him laugh about Carolina's desperate texts, and how she'd started hinting about leaving her husband. Each word carved deeper into my chest. When we finally reached his apartment complex, a trendy new building with a doorman and expensive cars in the lot, I pulled over. He paid with a credit card, added a small tip, and got out without even looking at me. To him, I was invisible. Just another cab driver. Just another nobody. Just the husband of the woman he was using and mocking. I sat in my cab for 20 minutes after he left, engine running, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed with a text from Carolina. Working late again tonight. Don't wait up. Love you. Love you. The words that used to make me smile now felt like poison. When I got home that night, Carolina was already in bed, or pretending to be. I looked at her sleeping face, the same face I'd kissed goodbye that morning, the same woman who'd packed my lunch with a little note saying, "Love you." How long had this been going on? The next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I called in sick to work and started following Carolina. I parked down the street from the restaurant and watched. Sure enough, around noon, Max walked in. He stayed for 2 hours. Through the window, I could see them laughing together, Carolina touching his arm, looking at him the way she used to look at me. Over the next week, I documented everything. I took photos, I tracked the times he visited, I even checked our savings account. Carolina had withdrawn $8,000 over the past 4 months. $8,000 we'd been saving for years for our children's education. I was shocked and didn't know what to do. But I understood one thing. I needed a plan that would make her understand exactly what she'd thrown away. I consulted with a lawyer quietly, got all my documents in order, made copies of everything. I opened a separate account and started redirecting my income there. I documented every withdrawal Carolina had made, every gift she'd given Max, every lie she'd told about working late. Then I did something else. I started going to Max's apartment complex. I befriended the security guard, learned Max's patterns. Turns out, our golden boy was playing this game with at least 2 other women. I managed to contact them through some creative social media work, and we all compared notes. One of them was a married schoolteacher who'd been stealing from her classroom supply budget to buy Max gifts. Another was a divorced mother of 3 who'd been using her alimony payments. Max had a system, and Carolina was just another mark. I compiled everything into a folder: photos, bank statements, testimony from the other women, screenshots of Max's social media, where he bragged about his sugar mamas to his friends. Everything Carolina had done, everything Max had said, all of it documented and organized. 3 months after that cab ride, I finally made my move. It was our anniversary. Carolina had planned a special dinner at home, probably feeling guilty about her affair. The kids were at her sister's place for the night. She'd cooked my favorite meal, lit candles, the whole performance. I let her go through the motions. We ate. She talked about how much she loved our life together, how lucky she was to have me. Every word felt like a knife. After dinner, I pulled out the folder. "Before we celebrate another year together, I thought we should look through some photos," I said calmly. Her face went white as I laid out photo after photo of her with Max bank statements showing the withdrawals. Printed text messages I'd recovered from our phone bill. Screenshots of Max's social media posts about easy targets and desperate housewives. "Gary, I can." "No," I cut her off. "You're going to sit there and listen to everything. Just like I sat in my cab and listened to your boyfriend explain exactly how stupid you are." I told her about the cab ride, about every disgusting thing Max had said. I showed her the messages from the other women he was scamming. I showed her proof that he'd been laughing about her behind her back, calling her desperate and pathetic to his friends. Carolina cried. She tried to explain, to apologize, to make excuses. She claimed she'd felt neglected, that I was always working, that Max had made her feel young again. "You stole from our children's future for a con artist who thinks you're a joke," I said. "You betrayed 12 years of marriage for free dinners and an ego boost." I handed her the divorce papers. They were already filled out, already reviewed by my lawyer. "You're going to sign these tonight," I said. "We'll split the assets down the middle. What's left of them anyway, since you gave $8,000 to a scam artist. We'll share custody of the kids, though I'll be documenting your theft from their college fund for the judge." "Where will I go?" she asked, mascara running down her face. "I don't care. Maybe Max will take you in, though I doubt it." I sent him copies of everything too, including testimony from his other victims. "He's probably already blocked your number." As if on cue, Carolina's phone buzzed. She looked at it, and I saw her face crumble further. Max had indeed blocked her on everything. "You planned this," she whispered. "You've been planning this for months." "Just like you planned every lie you told me," I replied. "The difference is, I actually thought about our children's future while I was doing it." The divorce was finalized 4 months later. Carolina tried to fight it at first, but the evidence was overwhelming. The judge was particularly unimpressed with the stolen college fund money. We split the house, the cars, and the remaining savings. Carolina had to take out a personal loan to pay back half of what she'd stolen from the kids' fund. She lost her job at the restaurant too. Turns out, giving free meals to your boyfriend and manipulating the books to cover it up is grounds for termination. The restaurant owner had been suspicious for months, but hadn't had proof until I provided it. Max disappeared from Birmingham shortly after everything came out. One of his other victims had a brother who paid him a visit to discuss his behavior. Nothing violent, just a very clear conversation about what would happen if he ever showed his face in town again. Carolina moved into a small apartment on the other side of town. Our kids were confused at first, but kids are resilient. I've been honest with them in age-appropriate ways. Mom made some bad choices. Mom and Dad can't live together anymore, but we both still love them very much. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal itself. It was realizing I'd been living with a stranger. The woman who could steal from her own children's future, who could lie to my face every single day, who could laugh with her lover while I worked double shifts to provide for our family. I never knew that person at all. Carolina has tried to reach out several times. She's apologized, claimed she's changed, begged for another chance. She even showed up at my house once, crying about how Max had used her and how sorry she was. I closed the door in her face. Some people think I should have forgiven her, that everyone makes mistakes, that 12 years of marriage should count for something. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm too harsh. But every time I think about potentially softening, I remember that cab ride. I remember hearing a stranger mock my wife for being easy to manipulate. I remember discovering that she'd stolen from our children. I remember 12 years of what I thought was partnership being revealed as a lie. Carolina emails sometimes, especially around holidays or the kids' birthdays. She tells me she's in therapy, that she understands what she did wrong, that she wishes she could go back and change everything. I don't respond. My kids are doing well. The college fund is being rebuilt, slowly but surely. I'm dating someone new, a kind woman who works at the hospital, who treats me with respect, who would never dream of stealing from her own children. Life goes on. As for Carolina, I heard through mutual friends that she's struggling. Lost her job, lost her family, lost her reputation. Some people in town know what happened. Birmingham's not that big, and people talk. She's essentially persona non grata in certain circles. Max never came back to Birmingham. Last I heard, he'd moved to Atlanta and was running the same scams on a fresh set of victims. I hope someone else catches him eventually. The trust one had in Carolina, in marriage, in 12 years of partnership, that's gone forever. She destroyed it for free restaurant meals and the ego boost of a con artist half her age who thought she was stupid. And you know what the worst part is? She was right about one thing. I was always working, always driving my cab, always trying to provide. I thought that's what a good husband did. I thought coming home tired every night, working holidays and weekends, meant I was being responsible. Maybe if I'd been home more, she wouldn't have strayed. Maybe if I'd taken her on more dates, been more attentive, she wouldn't have fallen for the first smooth-talking kid who paid her a compliment. But then I remember, plenty of people work hard and have working spouses who don't betray them. Plenty of marriages survive busy schedules without one partner stealing from their children's future. My working hard didn't make Carolina cheat. Her choices made Carolina cheat. Sometimes late at night, when the kids are asleep and the house is quiet, I think about that Tuesday evening. What if I'd had my music on? What if Max had waited until he got home to make that phone call? Would I still be living in ignorance, working my shifts while Carolina met Max for their little trysts? Part of me thinks ignorance might have been easier. But a bigger part of me is glad I found out. Glad I didn't waste another 12 years on someone who could betray me so completely. Glad I didn't keep working double shifts to fund her affair. The kids ask sometimes why mom and dad can't be together anymore. I tell them that sometimes adults make choices that break important promises, and when that happens, staying together would only make everyone unhappy. They seem to understand, or at least accept it. They still see Carolina on weekends, though she's now living with a roommate in a 2-bedroom apartment, a far cry from our family home. She can't take them out for nice dinners anymore. Can't afford the toys and treats she used to buy them. I don't take pleasure in her struggles, but I don't feel guilty about them either. She made her choices. These are the consequences. Last month, Carolina showed up at one of our daughter's soccer games. I hadn't known she was coming. She looked tired, older somehow, worn down by the weight of her mistakes. She tried to talk to me, to apologize again, to explain that Max had manipulated her too. I listened politely for our daughter's sake, then walked away. Because here's the thing, Max might have been manipulating Carolina, but Carolina was also manipulating me. Every kiss goodbye, every I love you, every anniversary celebration while she was seeing someone else, those were all lies. She looked me in the eyes and lied, every single day, while spending our children's future on her affair. That's not manipulation. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. A series of choices made deliberately over months. And those choices destroyed our family. Thank you for watching the video to the end. YouTube may no longer suggest my channel to you, so subscribe to it to receive new interesting stories. You will also help the channel grow and improve the quality of its content. A playlist with other interesting stories that you can listen to is now displayed on the screen. You can also write in the comments what stories you would like to see on the channel.